can come like, I think basically if they just squeeze in sort of this side,
It's older than his years.
basically if you get them to sort of walk around, yeah, just come straight across, follow behind. It wasn't that.
It's quite fast.
Wow.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Trendy, I think it's the TV camera that is
the kids are running there.
Thankfully, I wasn't too drunk. Never that bad.
Sucking the life out of it. Sorry, he's doing this one. That's cool. That means you're going to read skyline. I'll be over.
Chancellor Merz as well.
Oh, him too. Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't he a big
He's a bit tall, yeah.
See, he stole my height.
Averages everything out ever since.
My friends always used to say to me, you need to stand in the grow bag. You know, you have a
Tell him to go do one.
Yeah, grow tomatoes.
You can always just say good things come in small packages.
Well, this is it. Yeah. So are you from Australia? New Zealand? Guess what? I've got stories about New Zealand.
Sorry?
I went to school in New Zealand for a year. Wellington, so I went to Wellington College. Opposite the Basin Reserve,
Yep.
my school.
I was about to say next to the Basin Reserve.
Basin Reserve, yeah.
And the funicular.
Pardon?
And the funicular.
Well, my brother's found early 60s now, and he's my dad's first marriage, and he went around to a government for finance minister at the time.
I know Winston Stevens.
So obviously Winston's been deputy PM occasionally because you guys have coalition.
Yeah, they've got some sort of representation.
And when I was there, there was a sort of a coup of sorts, and this was 97, and Jenny Shipley was in first Prime Minister, and I met her, and got signed stamps.
Jenny Shipley, there's also Ruth.
It was the Labour lady after, wasn't it? Helen
Helen, yeah.
Helen Clark.
Helen Clark.
I love New Zealand. And,
It's a good old place.
I used
Great
to
place to visit. They're not possible.
I used to play football in Porua, so I used to go from Wellington, Porua.
Used to have earthquakes every day.
I used to, I used to feel them, and I used to go, a guy that used to teach me football ran an academy called Royal Soccer Academy, a guy called Keir, and he used to play for Wigan Athletic, and he started football academy in Germany. But Rotorua is quite nice as well, the geezers as well.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Ah yes, my brother still has an apartment in Wellington, an apartment in Auckland. So he's got dual nationality now and a green card for the US as well.
I'll let everything calm down a fraction before I go for working that which I can.
By the way, just so I'm not, you're going to pan, right?
Yeah, so I'll pan and I'm going to start.
So what I'm concerned about is I've got a random chance.
So if you rest here for a sec and then move forward, then I can try
Right, will I be able to do that through that camera?
next to me, scroll to the bottom. And as soon as it gets to that point, there where the tarmac changes colour, where the footpath changes colour there,
Yeah. Where there's a drain.
yeah, pretty much there. You can start your course from there. That means we'll break shots.
Right, so basically don't do any as they're walking up as soon as it gets that drain started.
Because you'll be talking to the Prime Minister specifically to break shots.
Right.
No
Bob
problem.
says no.
I'm there, words with them. That's serious. It's funny because, I mean, obviously our job is to make sure that everything looks really good and really simple. So please let the feedback in. That makes our job really good. That's why I can't see the whole lot of the international groups, so this is going to be really important specifically for me. I mean, obviously I know I'm not getting it there without, previous compliance and that. But it's really important. If we just get everything on the page, I'm not here to make it. Here to make it really.
Yeah.
And they need that.
I'll pass it back.
Desperately need that.
There must be some sort of.
No, there's no
rationale.
reason. That's, I mean, it's also 3 minutes to get up there. It's virtually so it needs to be. That's 30 years here. So that's just needs to. World stage. I mean, the only other thing that we went for was someone's unfixed to the space. That is something you can do. You're allocating someone to stand up because they're going to get double shots and this goes for everybody. So
I can try, or failing that, I can just body block a little bit. Yeah. So you just want to be like middle as possible. Yeah.
oh, it's fun. It's great. Yes. Hello, Joe.
All the better now. Coffee time.
Better now. He may just come to the front door. He'll come out to the middle of the path, and then depending on how his reaction is, he may move towards him and go in mid, or he might just roll from the front of his side. So I'll follow him and then develop the shot to include. So from the drain, I'll start to include.
Right, okay, so just as long as I start from there.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
If there's some hillbillies attacking you. And instead of having friendships, and the house represents friends. I think it works. This number, stop calling. Oh, yes.
Tell another person I met in New Zealand as well.
Sorry?
I met another person in New Zealand.
Go on.
Michael Hardy Boys. Lady Hardy Boys. So in '97 he was the Governor General of New Zealand.
So I left years before that. I left around 1949.
Right.
So suddenly life just sort of changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Bottom? Cracking going. Oh, you lovely people are going to stay down, aren't you?
I tend to jump up and down during the moment. I have
do
a
star
bit of a
jumps as
habit.
well?
I do a one-man Mexican wave, just kind of like that.
I love that. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm only saying that because the shirt is quite desperate. Because obviously, the more range you get from it. If you had like a static colour shirt, then it would be a
Well,
problem.
I feel like you can pick a mix out of it. That's the thing. It's exactly the same
Looks
colour
like
as the
a
bag.
candy cane.
Exactly. Yeah.
I feel like
You
Christmas
love
already.
it. You love it.
So good. It's wonderful.
It's like socks as well.
Imagine wearing a shirt like this though. This sucks.
That's true. Yeah.
Actually, it's quite good. I mean, my lines go straight towards me, which is fun. I see your point. I see the chicks.
You know Ian West from PA?
Yes.
When he's doing premieres, he just wears bright red coat, and all he'll be doing is just going, red coat, red coat, and they'll be like, oh, red coat.
Stupid shirt.
Yeah, red coat. Red coat.
Wrong with these people.
What have you got after this?
Oh gosh. Come back out just in case I want to talk but I'm not tonight, so once there is something really honest.
It's okay.
Oh, it's but I love it. I think there's something DNA into this. That's good.
This is my main thing of the day. Yeah.
That's fine. You're going to shout where I don't live. Tell me that.
Certainly his shirt's loud enough. Sorry, but I can't hear the questions over the noise of that shirt.
Oh,
Here we go, gentlemen, ladies.
Have you lost control of your party, Prime Minister? Prime Minister, are you punishing MPs for disabled people? Are you trying to scare MPs, Prime Minister? Is party loyalty now more important than the British people? Are you punishing your MPs for supporting disabled people, Prime Minister?
Thank you, Katie. That was really fantastic. And it was really good to meet you earlier on as well, along with the other apprentices. So thank you for introducing us. And good afternoon, everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here, to be back here, and to welcome Chancellor Merz to be alongside me at Airbus here today. I'm always amazed at this place when I come to visit. It's not my first visit. But thank you again for showing us the amazing work that you do here. This is one of the most cutting-edge facilities in Europe, home to the ExoMars rover, designed with German expertise and built right here in Stevenage. You are driving innovation in defence and space technology and making us all safer and leading us into the future. And this is the heart of what brings Friedrich and I together. We see the scale of the challenges our continent faces today, and we intend to meet them head on. But we also see the scale of the opportunities. So we have a shared resolve to shape this new era with new leadership. The UK and Germany side by side, delivering growth and security and delivering for working people. And that is why earlier today, we did something genuinely unprecedented. Building on our new agreement with the EU, together we signed the Kensington Treaty, the first ever major bilateral treaty between the United Kingdom and Germany. Two great modern European nations. It's an expression of our shared aims and values. But more than that, it's a practical work plan, setting out 17 major projects where we will come together to deliver real results which will improve people's lives. So a historic treaty, a statement of intent and ambition. And we intend to do, amongst other things, as leading NATO powers in Europe, committing not only to our mutual defence, but also to maximise the benefits of our defence spending in the shape of more jobs, more growth, and more security. Under this treaty, we will bring our industries together to boost defence exports by billions of pounds, and will speed up collaboration on high-tech weapons and equipment, strengthening NATO and keeping our people safe. Our economic links already support 500,000 British jobs. So under this treaty, we will go further with e-gate access for frequent business travellers. I know that's something very popular here. A direct rail link and a new U.K. Germany business forum to boost investment. Starting today with new investments in the UK worth over £200 million. We're also deepening collaboration on science and innovation, supporting great jobs like those here at Airbus. And we're delivering new infrastructure projects, including in the North Sea energy, to produce power that is cheaper, greener, and more secure. Crucially, we're also working together on illegal migration. And I want to thank Friedrich for his leadership on this, pledging decisive action to strengthen German law this year so that small boats being stored or transported in Germany can be seized, disrupting the route to the UK. And it's a clear sign that we mean business. We are coming after the criminal gangs in every way that we can. We also discussed the appalling situation in Gaza. We are both working to support efforts towards a ceasefire and also to demand the immediate unconditional release of the remaining hostages and the immediate unconditional humanitarian access that is so desperately needed to deliver aid at volume and at speed. Finally, we discussed the situation in Ukraine. Just a few days after Friedrich took office in May earlier this year, we were both in Kyiv, shoulder to shoulder with President Zelensky, during one of the toughest moments in this horrendous war. Now we're leading the work to get the best kit to Ukraine as fast as possible. We'll keep pushing this forward together with the US and other allies, because ultimately our security starts in Ukraine. So this is a partnership with a purpose. I think it illustrates what our work on the international stage is all about, building the foundations of stability across our continent that make us safer, boost our economy, and deliver change across for our people. It's about delivering results, and that's what we're working towards. And in a dangerous world, we do this together. So thank you, Friedrich, for your partnership and your friendship. And over to you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister, dear Keir. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me say that I'm really proud and happy to be here today and to enjoy your hospitality. Many thanks to the Airbus team, and many thanks for joining us this afternoon. This is, as Keir said, really an historic day. And let me turn into German. We are really on the way to a new chapter. Wir schlagen heute ein neues Kapitel auf, der deutsch-britischen Beziehungen. Wir antworten gemeinsam auf die großen neuen Herausforderungen unserer Zeit, in der wir leben. Großbritannien hat zu meinem persönlichen großen und anhaltenden Bedauern die Europäische Union verlassen. Russland rüttelt an der europäischen Sicherheitsarchitektur. Und die transatlantischen Beziehungen verändern sich so wie lange nicht gesehen. Unter diesen neuen Bedingungen wollen wir mit dem Vertrag, den wir heute unterzeichnet haben, die Freiheit, die Sicherheit, den Wohlstand unserer beiden Länder sichern. Und das ist die große Verabredung, die wir heute gemeinsam getroffen haben. Der Premierminister und ich haben heute den britisch-deutschen Freundschaftsvertrag unterzeichnet. Wir haben ihn den Kensington-Vertrag genannt. Der Grund ist ganz einfach. Wir haben ihn im Victoria and Albert Museum im Londoner Stadtteil Kensington unterzeichnet. Der Ort wurde mit Bedacht gewählt. Die Verbindung von Queen Victoria und ihrem aus Deutschland stammenden Ehemann Prinz Albert war lebenslang und glücklich. Das soll ein gutes Vorzeichen auch sein für unseren Vertrag. Und dieser Vertrag soll unsere Beziehungen für viele Jahre und Jahrzehnte prägen. Sicherheit ist dabei der rote Faden, der diesen Vertrag durchzieht. Wir werden gemeinsam unseren Beitrag leisten, den euroatlantischen Raum zu schützen und zu verteidigen. Und in letzter Konsequenz sichern wir einander militärischen Beistand im Falle eines bewaffneten Angriffs zu. Wir tun dies im Einklang mit unseren Verpflichtungen in der NATO. Der Vertrag steht aber in einem größeren Zusammenhang. Uns verbindet mit Frankreich als Deutsche der Élysée-Vertrag. Wir haben 2019 diesen Vertrag erneuert und ihn Vertrag von Aachen genannt. Frankreich und Großbritannien verbinden die Lancaster House-Verträge. Diese Vereinbarungen sind komplementär. Sie ergänzen einander. Und deshalb ist es auch kein Zufall, dass ich heute, eine Woche nach dem Staatsbesuch des französischen Staatspräsidenten Emmanuel Macron, zu Besuch in London bin. Ich werde Emmanuel Macron in der nächsten Woche in Berlin empfangen. Und im Herbst werden wir den deutsch-französischen Ministerrat in Frankreich abhalten. Ich nenne diese Daten, weil sie zeigen, dass wir als E3, als die drei großen europäischen Länder, Großbritannien, Frankreich und Deutschland, eng zusammenrücken. Sicherheitspolitisch, migrationspolitisch, aber eben auch wirtschaftspolitisch. Damit auch das klar ist, diese Dynamik ist nie exklusiv. Polen, Italien und andere Mitgliedstaaten der Europäischen Union, andere europäische Länder, auch kleinere Partner, denken wir immer mit. Der neue Vertrag soll etwas da draußen an unserer Wirklichkeit verändern. Wir haben deshalb heute einen Aktionsplan mit Leuchtturmprojekten verabredet. Etwa in der Sicherheits- und Verteidigungspolitik bauen wir auf das Trinity House Abkommen vom Oktober 2024 auf, also vor gar nicht so vielen Monaten. Wir entwickeln gemeinsam konventionelle Abstandswaffen und unbemannte Systeme zur Luft, zur See und zu Land. Wir kooperieren, um die Nordsee besser gegen hybride Bedrohungen zu schützen. Wir arbeiten an der östlichen Flanke der NATO eng zusammen und unterstützen gemeinsam die Ukraine. Und hier im Airbus-Werk Stevenage können Sie sehen, wie viel Innovationskraft in unseren gemeinsamen Kooperationen steckt. Im Teamwork wird hier Weltrauminfrastruktur, auch für die deutschen und britischen Streitkräfte, entwickelt und produziert. Das stärkt unsere Verteidigungsfähigkeit in Europa. Aber wir sprechen nicht nur über Sicherheit und Verteidigung. Wir sprechen auch über die gemeinsame Wirtschaftspolitik. Das, was wir verabredet haben, wird neues Wachstum befördern. Deutsche und britische Unternehmen sind innovativ und leistungsstark. Zusammen können sie ihre Stärken noch besser gemeinsam ausspielen. In der Energiepolitik wollen wir gemeinsam die Chancen zukunftsgewandter Industriekooperation nutzen. Wir werden dabei auch die Kontakte zwischen den Menschen stärken. Ein wichtiges Beispiel, und das ist mir persönlich besonders wichtig gewesen, ich sage das auch in Anwesenheit so vieler junger Auszubildender hier im Betrieb. Wir wollen die Mobilität von Kindern, Jugendlichen und Studenten stärken. Hier ist der Brexit besonders schmerzlich spürbar geworden. Umso mehr freut mich, dass Großbritannien wieder sogenannte Schülersammellisten einführt. Das macht Besuche von Schulklassen unkompliziert möglich, ohne Reisepass und ohne Visum. Und heute stellen wir auch erste Weichen hin zu einer direkten Zugverbindung zwischen Deutschland und Großbritannien. Und schließlich Forschung, Technologie und Innovationen stehen bei uns mit auf der Tagesordnung. Wir setzen neue Impulse. Mit Wissenschaftspartnerschaften vernetzen wir unsere Forschungsexzellenz. Für Wissenschaftler und Studenten wird es künftig wieder attraktivere Bedingungen geben für Aufenthalte in Großbritannien. Ja, und schließlich, meine Damen und Herren, unser heutiges Treffen war auch Gelegenheit, erneut über die Lage in der Ukraine zu sprechen. Präsident Trump hat am Montag eine wichtige Initiative ergriffen. Die USA sind bereit, der Ukraine Waffen bereitzustellen, finanziert durch europäische Partner. Deutschland will einen wichtigen Beitrag dazu leisten. Wir müssen nun schnellstmöglich mit den Partnern über Einzelheiten sprechen. Vor allem brauchen wir Klarheit, wie Waffensysteme durch die USA ersetzt werden, die von europäischer Seite abgegeben werden. Das erhöht den Druck auf Putin, endlich über Frieden zu verhandeln. Und das zeigt, Europa und die USA ziehen in der Sicherheitspolitik am selben Strang. Ich möchte mit einer guten Nachricht schließen. Heute ist auch deshalb ein besonderer Tag, weil wir den Geburtstag von Anita Lasker-Wallfisch feiern. Den Horror des Holocaust hat Anita Lasker-Wallfisch überlebt im Mädchenorchester von Auschwitz. Seit vielen Jahren macht sie sich unermüdlich für Freiheit, Demokratie und Menschlichkeit stark. Hier in London feiert sie heute am Tag ihren 100. Geburtstag. Wir gratulieren ihr nicht nur herzlich, sondern wir danken ihr für ihre unermüdliche Arbeit, die sie in den letzten Jahrzehnten geleistet hat, um das Erinnern an das Grauen des Holocaust wachzuhalten und uns immer wieder zu ermahnen, nicht nachzulassen in der Freundschaft mit unseren Nachbarn in Europa. Ja, und Keir, du hast es gesagt, eigentlich ist es eine ziemliche Überraschung, dass es in den letzten Jahrzehnten eine solche Initiative nicht gab, dass es keinen deutsch-britischen Freundschaftsvertrag gegeben hat. Ich möchte deswegen ausdrücklich der Vorgängerregierung danken, die diese Initiative ergriffen hat und die vorbereitenden Arbeiten geleistet haben, die wir in der jetzigen Regierung in kürzester Zeit abgeschlossen haben und wir heute nun endlich im Jahr 2025 erstmalig zum Abschluss eines solchen Vertrages über Freundschaft und Zusammenarbeit zwischen Großbritannien, dem Vereinigten Königreich und Nordirland und Deutschland zu kommen. Das ist wahrhaft ein historischer Tag und ich fühle mich geehrt, als deutscher Bundeskanzler heute hier stehen zu dürfen und mit dem britischen Premierminister diesen Vertrag zu unterzeichnen. Wir tun das nicht für uns beide. Wir tun das für unsere beiden Länder und wir tun das vor allen Dingen für Sie, auch für euch, für die junge Generation, denen wir eine gute Perspektive geben wollen in diesem Europa, das weiter zusammenwachsen muss, gerade auch in Deutschland und in Großbritannien. Herzlichen Dank.
Thank you very much, Friedrich. We'll now take a number of questions. I'm going to start with Beth Rigby from Sky News. Beth.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Beth Rigby, Sky News. Prime Minister, on Ukraine, President Trump has signalled he's prepared to sell more weapons to allies to send to Ukraine. The Chancellor just referenced that, including Patriot missile systems. Will the UK be involved, and how much of a game changer will this be? And I need to ask you a domestic question, I'm afraid. In 1997, when 47 MPs voted against Tony Blair's welfare plans, not a single one had the whip removed. He, like you, had a massive majority, but unlike you, he just didn't feel the need to punish MPs. Why are you so rattled by this? Doesn't it look weak? And to the Chancellor, if I may, on illegal migration, you're planning to stop people smugglers using warehouses to store boats, which is very welcome. The French have agreed a trial of a one-in, one-out solution. But aren't Britain's problems being exacerbated by European Union failing to properly police its borders? And aren't you also hurting politically at home because of this? And just quickly on Ukraine, do you think President Trump... I know,
this is one question for Beth.
I know, sorry. Do you think President Trump is finally seeing President Putin for who he really is? And how much is that going to help Kyiv? Thank you so much. Thank you.
Beth, let me take your two first. On the question of Ukraine, obviously we've been working with our allies and with the US for a very long time now, but particularly intensely in recent weeks, to get to the position we're in now, where the President has made it absolutely clear that he wants Putin to move, and backing that up with capability, both military capability, as it were, but also economic as well. That is really important, and we are discussing it closely. We had a long discussion about it. Today we discuss it almost every time we meet. And we are working together on that. Last week, of course, we had the Coalition of the Willing meeting, where we had US representation there, particularly on the question of sanctions. So we are working hard with the US on this. And I think this shows the strength of Germany, France, and the UK working so closely together with other allies in Europe, but also working very closely with the US. On the domestic question, look, we were elected in to change this country for the better, and that means we've got to carry through that change, and we've got to carry through reforms, because we inherited a broken economy and broken public services. No government has inherited both of those ever before, and I'm determined that we will change this country for the better for millions of working people. And I'm not going to be deflected from that. Therefore, we had to deal with people who repeatedly break the whip, because everyone was elected as a Labour MP on the manifesto of change, and everybody needs to deliver as a Labour government. This is about what we're doing for the country, and that's why I'm so determined to press forward with the reforms and the change that we need to bring about. Thank you very much. Friedrich.
Thank you for brief questions. Have we brought enough time for today? And so I'm free. I have no other meeting today. No, zuerst zur Ukraine. Ich bin sehr dankbar, dass Präsident Trump in den letzten Tagen erneut seine Bereitschaft gezeigt hat, der Ukraine auch mit Waffen weiter zu helfen. Wir haben in den letzten Tagen eine Verabredung getroffen, dass wir vom europäischen Kontinent und aus Europa insgesamt neue Patriot-Systeme an die Ukraine liefern und dass diese Systeme dann aus den USA heraus ersetzt werden. Denn wir müssen ja auch unsere eigene Verteidigungsfähigkeit aufrechterhalten. Ich gehe davon aus, dass in diesen Stunden darüber zwischen den Verteidigungsministern Verabredungen getroffen werden, die das dann auch entsprechend technisch möglich machen, was der amerikanische Präsident auch am letzten Wochenende erneut zugesagt hat. Zur Einwanderungspolitik. Diese deutsche Bundesregierung hat einen weiteren Kurswechsel vollzogen, nachdem auch die vorangegangene Bundesregierung bereits erste Konsequenzen aus den zu hohen Zahlen gezogen hat. Die Zahlen gehen in Deutschland deutlich zurück. Wir haben im zweiten Quartal 2025 knapp 50% weniger Asylanträge als im vergleichbaren Quartal des Vorjahres. Wir haben Grenzkontrollen verstärkt. Wir wissen allerdings, dass Grenzkontrollen nur auf Zeit ihre notwendige Wirkung haben. Wir wollen den Schengen-Raum nicht beschädigen. Wir wollen den internen Markt, also den Binnenmarkt, nicht beschädigen. Wir wollen den freien Personenverkehr, den Güterverkehr, den Warenverkehr, den Dienstleistungsverkehr aufrechterhalten. Insofern setze ich mich auch persönlich sehr stark dafür ein, dass wir zu gemeinsamen und besseren europäischen Regeln kommen. Und diese Regeln müssen die Grenzen der Europäischen Union insgesamt besser schützen. Und ich habe mit Premierminister Starmer auch über dieses Thema heute Morgen ausführlich gesprochen, dass wir hier auch mit Großbritannien eng zusammenarbeiten. Denn die Zusammenarbeit zwischen Großbritannien und Frankreich in der letzten Woche verabredet worden ist, muss ergänzt werden um eine Verabredung, die wir auch mit Großbritannien zwischen Deutschland und Frankreich gemeinsam treffen. Wir wollen die illegale Migration in ganz Europa drastisch zurückbringen. Und wir sind auf einem guten Weg, aber wir sind noch nicht am Ziel.
Beth, let me just add to that last answer, if I may, because I'm really grateful to the Chancellor for leading on this in relation to the change in German law, which is hugely important to us. As you know, we're determined to intervene at every stage of the journey that is made to bring down those that are running this vile trade. Last week, we obviously dealt with what's happening in the north of France in relation to maritime tactics and our ability to return people through the returns agreement that we agreed last week to France. But for a long time, I've been very concerned about the fact that engines in particular, but component parts of the boats that are being used are travelling through and being stored in Germany, but they can't be seized because the law didn't accommodate for a country which had left the EU and therefore needed to be amended. And I am very grateful for the Chancellor, and we've discussed this at great length on a number of occasions, is now going to change the law, introduce the necessary legislation so that we can intervene in that place. And that is the kind of leadership and cooperation that is necessary if we're going to deal with this issue. And it should be seen, as the Chancellor says, alongside the work we did with France last week. And I endorse everything that was said about the strength of the E3 relationship. Germany, France and the UK leading not just on defence and security in Europe, but on many other issues as well, most of which are reflected in the treaty that we signed this morning. Thank you very much. Can I go to Anne from Politico? Anne, please.
Hello, Anne McElvoy from Politico. Prime Minister, Herr Bundeskanzler. What difference, Prime Minister, do you think we will see in terms of the war in Ukraine from the arrangements and agreements that you've met in the last few days? There's a perception sometimes that these things are going to take years and years. If I think about something like the plan for a super Taurus, rockets and other weaponry, these are going to take years and years. And have you been putting pressure on your guest to actually deliver Taurus at the moment into the battlefields of Ukraine? And also with that in mind, before I switch over to the Bundeskanzler, what about perhaps raising pressure through economic sanctions on Russia? And is that something you've been both advocating for with the US President? Ich füge vielleicht gerade hinzu, Herr Bundeskanzler, Sie haben ja doch versprochen, Taurus zu liefern. Als Sie nicht im Amt waren, ist es noch nicht passiert. Würden Sie sich jetzt anders überlegen? Sorry, and I will switch back to English just for the fun of it and say, es gibt heute, there's another remarkable birthday today, which we might take note of, which is Angela Merkel, your predecessor, and sometimes Parteifreundin. Did you send congratulations?
And let me start with the question about the practical application and deliverability. I think the treaty we signed this morning should be seen as first and foremost a work plan that we can operate to straight away in terms of our cooperation, particularly on defence and security, and the discussion that we've been having for some time between ourselves, which is that as each of our countries and other countries in Europe scale up their defence spending, it is important that that isn't just seen as a spending issue in isolation. It has to be seen as an opportunity for us to coordinate and cooperate together in procurement, in production, etc. So this is a very meaningful and changed and new forging together of what we will do on defence and security. And we can start that straight away. The Trinity House agreement that we had was really important, and we signed that last year. So there is already work ongoing. It is true that under the treaty there's longer term work as well, as you would expect, but it sets in place the way of working that we can operate and are operating to increasingly as we speak, because I think it is important to appreciate just how closely our three countries now are working on these issues. We all see this as a responsibility, but also an opportunity for Europe to step up on defence and security and work more closely together. And that's enshrined in the treaty that we signed this morning. Thank you. Friedrich.
Wir haben über die militärische Unterstützung der Ukraine natürlich ausführlich gesprochen. Und zwar nicht nur über die Luftabwehr, sondern auch über die Fähigkeiten der Ukraine, auch mit weitreichenden Systemen sich besser zu verteidigen. Wir nennen das Long Range Fire. Die Ukraine wird schon in Kürze, in großem Umfang weitere Unterstützung in diese Richtung bekommen, auch durch industrielle Kooperationen, die wir mit der Ukraine eingegangen sind. Wir werden nicht über Einzelheiten öffentlich berichten, aber die Ukraine wird sehr viel stärker auch in den nächsten Wochen und Monaten noch mit solchen Systemen auch unterstützt werden. Ich hoffe sehr, dass die amerikanische Regierung zusammen mit dem amerikanischen Kongress die Entscheidungen trifft, die jetzt auch im Kongress seit einigen Wochen vorbereitet werden. Wir stehen in engem Kontakt, Keir Starmer genauso wie ich auch, mit einer Reihe von Senatoren, die dies vorbereitet haben. Und wir hoffen sehr, dass dies dann auch zu einer entsprechenden Entscheidung der amerikanischen Regierung kommen wird. Vielen Dank für den Hinweis auf den Geburtstag von Angela Merkel. Ich habe ihr natürlich gratuliert. Und wenn sie eines Tages so alt wird wie Anita Lasker-Wallfisch, dann werde ich ihr natürlich auch öffentlich gratulieren. Herzlichen Dank.
Thank you very much. I'll go now to Michael Fisher from DPA.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Herr Bundeskanzler, eine Frage an Sie zunächst nochmal zu den Patriots. Wenn Sie sagen, in den nächsten Stunden wird eine Einigung erzielt, Ihrer Meinung nach, wie schnell kann das gehen, bis die Patriots geliefert werden? Wie viele werden geliefert und welche anderen Länder werden sich daran beteiligen?
Ja.
And a question to both of you. To what extent are you both willing to buy weapons in the US to deliver to Ukraine, even beyond air defense? And since we are here at Airbus Defence and Space, one question to weapons exports in general, which is part of the treaty. Did you talk about the export of Eurofighter Typhoon? And are you both ready to deliver them to Turkey?
Yeah. You first?
No, you go first.
Ja, okay. Also Herr Fischer, nur damit das nochmal klargestellt ist, ich habe nicht gesagt, dass in den nächsten Stunden eine Entscheidung kommt, sondern in diesen Stunden verhandeln die Verteidigungsministerien und die Verteidigungsminister auch über Details, wie wir zu einer entsprechenden Lieferung von Patriots an die Ukraine in kurzer Zeit kommen können. Die müssen auch transportiert werden, die müssen aufgebaut werden. Das ist keine Frage von Stunden, das ist eine Frage von Tagen, vielleicht Wochen. Aber die Verhandlungen sind sehr konkret und wir haben noch kein Ergebnis, aber die Bereitschaft der amerikanischen Seite ist da, das zu tun. Wir haben auch über die Frage der Exportgenehmigungen gesprochen. Da hat es eine finale Entscheidung noch nicht gegeben, aber wir sind auf dem Weg hin zu einer guten Entscheidung, die auch eine entsprechende Exportgenehmigung ermöglicht. An welche Länder dies im Einzelnen der Fall sein wird, das werden Sie mir nachsehen, werde ich von dieser Stelle aus jetzt noch nicht sagen können.
In relation to Ukraine, obviously we're working with allies on the provision of capability. We have been for some considerable period throughout this conflict. And the backup, if you like, that sits behind that to make sure that any capability is effective in Ukraine. And that's why we've done, amongst other things, a lot of leading work on the training of those who are in Ukraine, those that are going to the front line, in relation to the capability that is being provided, so the two marry up together, and we'll continue to do so. And this is now an intense period as we go through the remaining days of this 50-day period, and it has to be coupled with economic pressure and the sanctions that will be necessary if Putin doesn't come to the table. President Zelensky has shown months ago now his willingness to come to the table in pursuit of lasting peace. It's now for Putin to come to the table. And I think that's very clear from what President Trump has said in recent days. On the question of exports, we discussed this today at some length, and that we intend to have export campaigns more jointly together, coordinated together. That is a good thing for both of our countries, and it's a good thing for Europe and beyond. And so we have not only discussed that, but also begun to take the steps to make sure that this is much more coordinated, much more joined up, and much more cooperative. And again, all of this is further evidence of the closeness of the relationship as it now is between Germany and the UK, and a statement of intent about how we intend to work going forward. Thank you very much. And I think I've got Arne from Bloomberg.
Ja, thank you. Herr Bundeskanzler, eine Frage zum EU-Haushaltsvorschlag, der Sie ja gestern erreicht hat aus Brüssel, wo man den Eindruck hat, dass Sie im Grunde genommen sich nicht ausreichend im Vorfeld informiert fühlten oder dass alles etwas auch für Sie überraschend kam, was da drin steht. Können Sie noch mal kurz sagen, sehen Sie da überhaupt noch eine Möglichkeit für einen Kompromiss, so auf der Basis des Vorschlags, wie er jetzt gekommen ist? Und, oder sehen wir da auch vielleicht einen größeren Konflikt, der da zwischen Berlin und Brüssel und möglicherweise anderen europäischen Hauptstädten sich da noch entwickeln könnte? To the Prime Minister, I just asked the Chancellor about the EU budget, so you are probably lucky that you don't have to deal with that anymore, but I wanted to ask you on Ukraine and your proposal, which I think originally comes from you, for peacekeeping forces for Ukraine. How realistic do you still think is your proposal? I mean, right now we are only talking about weapons and tanks and typhoons, etc. So do you still see a possibility for that in the near future? And also, are you still sticking to this idea that the UK and others would also send boots on the ground? Did you also talk to the Chancellor about this possibility?
Ja, Herr Deff, vielen Dank für die Frage. Wir haben über diese Themen gesprochen in der Europäischen Union. Das war auch bereits Thema beim letzten Europäischen Rat. Die Details werden natürlich in der Kommission erarbeitet. Ich bin nicht überrascht gewesen, sondern es war ein Prozess, der offensichtlich in der Kommission auch ein ziemlich hartes Ringen beinhaltet hat. Der Vorschlag, der jetzt auf dem Tisch liegt, ist in einer Hinsicht gut, dass nämlich die Proportionen zwischen den einzelnen Ausgaben neu gewichtet werden, dass wir vor allen Dingen in der Verteidigung und in der Sicherheit sehr viel mehr gemeinsam in der Europäischen Union tun wollen. Und was wir diskutieren müssen, ist die Höhe des Budgets und ist die Finanzierung des Budgets. Und ich will aus meiner Sicht sagen, was nicht in Frage kommt, ist eine Besteuerung der Unternehmen durch die Europäische Union. Dafür fehlt der Europäischen Union auch jede Rechtsgrundlage. Wir könnten das einstimmig beschließen, wenn es nötig wäre, aber ich kann das für Deutschland ausschließen, dass wir einen solchen Weg mitgehen. Das tun wir nicht. Wir senken gerade die Unternehmenssteuerbelastung in Deutschland, um nicht Spielräume für die Europäische Union zu schaffen, sie zu erhöhen. Das kommt nicht in Frage. Und wir werden uns unterhalten müssen über die Finanzierung des EU-Haushaltes, auch im Hinblick auf Verschuldung der Europäischen Union. Das ist ausnahmsweise zulässig. Von dieser Ausnahme hat die Europäische Union Gebrauch gemacht. Aber das, was wir zurzeit erleben, ist das neue Normale. Und in einer solchen neuen, aber dann eben leider auch normalen Zeit muss die Europäische Union grundsätzlich mit dem Geld auskommen, das sie zur Verfügung hat. Und deswegen wird es da in den nächsten 2 Jahren ein ziemlich hartes Ringen um diese mittelfristige Finanzplanung, ich sage es mal mit dem deutschen Ausdruck, der Europäischen Union für die Jahre 2028 bis 2034 geben. Das wird ein hartes Ringen in den nächsten 2 Jahren.
In relation to Ukraine, I think it's really important to see how this all fits together. The first thing we need to do is to get Putin to the table for an unconditional ceasefire. And that is why we've been talking for some time about peace through strength. And that is why we must provide Ukraine with the capability it needs to be in the strongest possible position, and hence the intense work in recent days and weeks on capability. But that's not new. That's a discussion that's been going on for a very, very long time, coupled, of course, with the economic sanctions, again, intended to get us to the position where Putin gets to the table and we are beginning that discussion about peace and a ceasefire. But the reason the coalition of the willing was set up in the first place is because it must then be, if we get to that point, a lasting peace. Because we've been to this point before where we've had a cessation in the conflict only for that to be breached by Putin, and we cannot go down that route again. That was the thinking behind the coalition of the willing, and the question we were answering is what then do we need to have in place in order to ensure that if there is a peace, if there is a ceasefire, it is a lasting ceasefire. I'm very glad that we began that work months ago now, and we've had our military planners from a number of countries working on plans. They are plans for the air, for the sea, and yes, for land. And the fourth component is strengthening the Ukrainian capability itself to ensure that that remains in place and is stronger after any ceasefire. So they're the four component parts. That does include a land element. I'm satisfied, and so are the other members of the coalition of the willing, that those plans are now completed as far as they can be until we get to a ceasefire, which is why we had the meeting of the coalition of the willing last week to sign off those plans. But they are advanced plans now. They are capable of being operationalised. I am convinced that we've got to this stage that it's important we did that work now. I wouldn't want to start that work after a ceasefire because it takes time to get military plans that are pretty specific in place. We now have them in place. There's a headquarters in Paris, which has been now in place for about a month. And most importantly, and often the most difficult, we've got a command structure in place so that the plans can move from the plan stage to being operationalised very quickly. And so that's the path as I see it. Strengthen Ukraine with capability, have the lever of sanctions and further sanctions in relation to Russia to put the pressure on, get to a point where there's a ceasefire, and then ensure that any ceasefire is lasting, fair and enduring, and that's where the work of the Coalition of the Willing has been so important. And as I say, I'm very pleased that last week we got to the point of saying the military plans are now developed as far as they need to be, and we've got command structures in place so we can operationalise it. Thank you all very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Friedrich.